chosen randomly. So we are choosing a point P arbitrarily, and surrounding this point charges are spread out. For example, here a charge Q1, here is a charge Q2, and another charge Q3. These three charges are at different distances from the point P. So let us consider a system of charges, and we are going to calculate the electric field at the point P due to this system of charges. So what may be the resultant electric field? The resultant electric field at the point P is equal to the vector sum of the individual electric fields produced by the individual point charges. So each and every charge will produce an electric field at the point P. So the total electric field at the point P is equal to the vector sum of the individual electric fields. And we are going to find out this resultant electric field using superposition principle. So if you consider a system of charges that is Q2, Q1, Q2, Q3 etc. to Qn in a system of charges, that is so many number of charges or infinite number of charges are spread in a system. So each and every charge will produce an electric field at the point P. So what is the total electric field? It is given by E total E vector. That is the resultant electric field is equal to the electric field vector sum of the electric fields due to individual charges. So this is the resultant electric field, and if you apply the values, we know E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square into R cap. If it is a point P, instead of two charges, if only one charge is kept, means we can write this as if only one charge is kept, then we can write this equation as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square into R cap. So this is a equation for two charges, and this is for a single charge, that is a charge and a point P. So this is due to a single charge. We are calculating the electric field due to a single charge. So this is the electric field. So if you apply this equation, and this equation, if we take this as equation number 1, then we can write it as E1 can be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 by R 1 P square into R 1 P cap plus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q2 by R2 P squared into R 2 p cap plus etc. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Qn by Rn p square into Rn p cap. So if you take the common term 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught outside, then we can write it as Q1 by R1 p squared into R1 p cap plus Q2 by 4 pi epsilon naught, sorry, Q2 by R2 p squared into R2 p cap plus etc. Qn by Rn p squared into Rn p cap. So this is the total electric field due to n number of charges. Here R1p, R2p, R3p are representing the distance of the charges from the point P, and Q1, Q2, Q3, Q1, Q2, Q3 are representing the charges. R1 p cap, R2 p cap, R3 p cap. These are all representing the unit vectors which are directed from Q1, Q2, etc. to P. Okay. So this equation can be rewritten as. How will you write this equation? E total is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught sigma I is equal to 1 to n Qi by R I p squared into R I p cap. Okay. So this is the resultant electric field due to a system of point charges, that is I value varies from 1 to n. That is, this is the simplification of this equation. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught sigma I is equal to 1 to n Qi by R I p squared into R I p cap is the total electric field. So we can do this with an example. Here I will take just 3 charges for simplification, or for your understanding. I will take 3 charges that are separated by distance from the point P. So consider a point P, and 3 charges are situated around that at 3 different distances. Q1, Q2 and Q3. They are at different distances from the point P, and we are going to calculate what is the total electric field at the point P due to these 3 charges. Okay, we will find that. And we know that if the charge is positive, what is the direction of the electric field? It is pointing outwards. And if the charge is negative, then the electric field is towards the charge. So we will draw the direction of the electric field first due to the individual charges. So let us take the first charge Q1. It is directed in what direction? It is away. So E1P vector is the electric field due to the first charge, and the length of this line should also be larger because it represents the magnitude of the electric field, and from the aspects of the electric field we come to know that if the distance decreases, the electric field also increases. The electric field increases. So Q1 is nearer to P, therefore the electric field will also be greater, and it is pointing outwards because it is a positive charge. So let us take the charge Q2. Q2 is far away from the point P when compared to the other charges. Therefore, the electric field will be less, and it is also pointing outwards. So it is represented by E2P. And what is Q3? This distance is intermediate between Q1 and Q2. Therefore, the electric field is also lesser than E1P and greater than E2P. So it is drawn like this. So it is E3P vector. So R1P is the distance of the first charge, R2P is the distance of the second charge, and R3P is the distance of the third charge from the point P. So what is the resultant electric field now? How will you write this? It can be written as E total is equal to E1 E1P vector plus E2P vector plus E3P vector. Okay, so this is the resultant electric field, and this is due to the system electric field due to a system of point charges. Hope you can understand this. Let me teach the next topic, which is the electric field due to continuous charge distribution. Electric field due to continuous charge distribution. So the continuous charge distribution is a system in which the charge is uniformly distributed over the conductor. In continuous charge system, infinite number of charges are closely packed and have a very little space between them. So from the previous topics, you know very well that electric charge is quantized microscopically. So the previous expressions for force, electric field are applicable only to point charges. So if you consider an electric field due to a sphere, charged sphere or a charged wire, we find it difficult to look at the individual charges. We cannot separate the individual charges. Therefore, we can assume that the charge is distributed continuously. So if you take a sphere, the charge is distributed continuously on the charged sphere. We assume that it is uniformly distributed, or if it is a wire, the charges are uniformly distributed over the length of the wire. And here we are not considering the discrete nature of charges. What do you mean by discrete? Discrete means at precise location. precise location of charges. So we are going to calculate the continuous charge distribution, electric field due to continuous charge distribution by calculus method. So we cannot say that all the charged materials are having a regular shape. It may have an irregular shape also. So in that case, how will you calculate the electric field? So let us consider an irregular shaped object, and this is a charged object, and instead of here we cannot find the location of the charges. Therefore, we have to divide the entire charged object into very large number of charge elements. We have to like this, they are divided into charge elements. Like that, they are taken as delta Q1, delta Q2 and delta Q3, like that. We have to separate them or divide them into charge elements, and each charged element delta Q is assumed to be as a point charge. So this charged object consists of infinite number of charges, but we divide them into charge elements, and each charge element is considered to be a point charge. So how will you calculate the electric field at a point P outside the charged object? How will you calculate the electric field at the point P? So let us draw lines. So Q1 is away. Therefore, the electric field is lesser. Q2 is little bit nearer to the point P. So it is somewhat greater than, this is E1P, this is, so let us take a point P. Q1 is at a larger distance. It is taken as E1P vector. This is a charge element, so it is delta E1P vector. Q2 is, delta Q2 is somewhat at a lesser distance to P, so it is represented as E2P vector, and Q3 is at a very less distance, therefore the electric field will also be greater, E3P vector. You understand now? If the distance increases, the electric field decreases. Q3 is at a lesser distance, therefore the electric field will be greater. So these are all for charge elements, so we will represent it by delta. So how will you calculate the electric field? Here the electric field that we are calculating is just an approximation, it is not an accurate value. Therefore the electric field is represented as E vector is approximately equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught delta q1 by r1 p squared into r1 p cap plus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught delta q2 by r2 p squared into r2 p cap plus etc. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught delta qn by rn p squared into rn p cap. Here delta q1, delta q2 are representing the charge elements. R1p, R2p are representing the distances. Here this is the first charge, it is R1p, and this is the second charge, so it is R2p, and this is the third charge, it is R3p. Here we are calculating for only 3 charges. Therefore, we can write it as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. This is the general expression, and can write as delta q1 by r1 p squared into r1 p cap plus delta q2 by r2 p squared into r2 p cap plus etc. delta qn by rn p squared into rn p cap. Okay, this is the general expression for the resultant electric field due to infinite number of charges, that is for continuous charge distribution. Or we can simplify this equation still more, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught sigma I is equal to 1 to n delta qi by rip squared into rip cap, where I value varies from 1 to n. Okay. So delta qi is the ith charge element, rip is the distance of the point P from the ith charge element, and rip cap is the unit vector from ith charge element to the point P. So this equation is just an approximation. So to calculate or to combine the meaning for the word incorporate. Incorporate means to unite or combine. To unite or combine. We can take this limit delta q is tends to 0. It can be written as dq. So how will you write this equation? E vector is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So this summation will become an integration. So integral dq by r square into r cap. Here r represents the distance of the point P from the very small charge dq, and r cap is a unit vector from dq to the point P. So this is for the continuous charge distribution for irregular shaped charged object. If the charge is uniformly distributed along a wire of length L. So we are going to study the specific conditions. So if you take a wire and the charges are uniformly distributed here, Q be the charges that are distributed uniformly over the length of the wire L. In this case, linear charge density, a linear charge density is lambda is equal to Q by L. What is linear charge density? It is the charge per unit length. So if it is a charged wire, in that case, how will we calculate the electric field? That we are going to study now. For that we are using the term linear charge density. It is for a wire. So lambda is equal to Q by L. What is the unit of linear charge density lambda? Unit is the unit for lambda is the unit of charge is coulomb and the unit of length is meter. So Cm inverse, that is the unit of linear charge density. So if the charge is very small, if the charge present in a very small length dl, so it is a very long wire. In that we are taking a very small portion dl, and the charge that is present within this is represented as dq. So dq is the very small charge present within this very small length dl. In this case, what is the value of the charge? We can write it as dq is equal to lambda into dl. From this equation we can write lambda q is equal to lambda l. Therefore dq, for very small length dl, the charge present is dq. Therefore dq is equal to lambda into dl. Therefore the total electric field can be written as E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral, in place of q. In place of q, we can write it as dq by r squared into r cap. Otherwise, it can be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral lambda dl by r squared into r cap. So this is the equation for the electric field due to a charged wire, which is charged uniformly. Similarly, we can calculate for uniformly distributed area, uniformly distributed volume also. So if the charge is uniformly distributed over a surface area A, then for area we use the term surface charge density. We are using the term surface charge density. What is surface charge density? It is the charge per unit area. It is the charge per unit area. So the linear charge density is for long wire and surface charge density is for a area. So for a uniformly distributed charge, that is if the charge is uniformly distributed over an area, then surface charge density is represented by sigma. Sigma is equal to q by a. So in the previous case we have studied lambda is equal to Q by L, charge per unit length. Here this is for an area. So surface charge density sigma is equal to charge per unit area. And what is the unit of this quantity? It is the unit of charge is coulomb. Unit of sigma is equal to unit of charges coulomb and unit of area is meter square, so it can be written as Cm power minus 2. That is the unit of surface charge density. So within a very small area, that is called infinitesimal area, dA, for a very small area dA, and that is if you consider a charged sheet. This is a charged sheet and we are taking a very small area. This area is represented as dA. This total area is A. This very small area is dA. In this, if you want to calculate the electric field at the point P, which is at a distance R, in this case, what will be the electric field at the point P? So the electric field due to M, total charge Q is given by E vector is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral dq by r squared into r cap. What is dq? It is a charge within this very small area. So it is represented by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral. What is dq? We know sigma is equal to q by a. Sigma is equal to q by a. For smaller charge, it is dq by dA. Therefore, dq is equal to sigma into dA. Q is equal to sigma A, or dq is equal to sigma into dA. Therefore, we can substitute this as sigma into dA by r square into r cap. So in your book, small a is given here. You change it, students. So dA is written as D capital A. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral sigma dA by r squared into r cap. This is the electric field for a uniformly distributed area. The next one is, what is the electric field if the charge is uniformly distributed over a volume? Here we are using the term volume charge density. We are using the term volume charge density. What is volume charge density? Volume charge density means it is the charge per unit volume. It is the charge per unit volume. So this volume charge density is represented by the letter sigma. Sorry, rho. Rho is equal to Q by V. That is charge per unit volume. So rho is equal to Q by V. Lambda represents linear charge density, sigma represents surface charge density, and rho represents volume charge density. So what is a unit of volume charge density? The unit of volume charge density is again written as C by mq. The unit of charge is coulomb and the unit of volume is meter cube. So it is written as Cm power minus 3. That is the unit of volume charge density. So if you consider a volume, that is this volume is uniformly uh, charge distributed, then we are distributing it into small volume element dq. Sorry, dq is equal to q into so if you consider a uniformly charged volume, so we are taking a very small element, volume element dv, and the charge in it is dq. So dq is equal to rho into dv. So as you studied already, q is equal to rho v and dq is equal to rho into dv. So we will calculate dq is equal to rho into dv. So what is the electric field due to this total volume, which consists of q amount of charge? It can be written as E vector is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral rho dv by r square into r. That is, what is the value of rho into dv? It is dq. So rho into dv by r squared into r cap. So we are taking three different cases. One is for a long wire, and the next one is for a charged sheet, and the third one is for a volume in which the charges are uniformly distributed. So in the case of a wire, the electric field is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral lambda dl by r squared into r cap. This is for a wire. And the next one is for a area. If it is uniformly charged, then the electric field is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral sigma dA by r squared into r cap. And for a uniformly charged volume, the electric field is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral rho dV by r squared into r cap. So these are all representing the charge values. From the charge values, these are all representing the infinitesimal charge dq. So dq is equal to lambda into dl, here for a area sigma into dA, and for a volume rho into dV, where lambda is a linear charge density, sigma is a surface charge density, and rho is a volume charge density. Hope you can understand, students. Thank you.